Hello everyone. Today I'm going to give you some resume writing tips. Creating your resume can be very overwhelming, especially if it's the first time you're doing it and you feel that you're not sure what to do with the information you have or how to organize it. In this video, we'll go about seeing how to organize this information in a way that gives your resume a standard look. Tip number one, be consistent. Inconsistency in your resume looks untidy and it is distracting for the reader. You want them to focus on the value you offer, not your lack of presentation skills. Consistency is key. Cater your resume to the industry. Each resume should be tailored to the job description, which means you want to be consistent across your sections because you always want to write it from your employer or your reader's point of view. So you want to keep everything as easier to read as possible. For example, you could use the date in the same style and in the same position of the page all across. By ensuring consistency on resume formatting, you are showing the potential employer that you also care about how your information looks. Once again, this shows you're reviewing things from their point of view. This is something that everyone appreciates. Tip number two, use basic fonts. One of the best things you can do for your resume in terms of formatting is to focus on your font selection. Use a font and font size that are easy to read. Appropriate fonts include Times New Roman, Arial, Calibri, Bookman, Cambria, or Helvetica. 10 to 12 point size fonts are the biggest and smallest fonts you want to use. Going any smaller will make it seem like you're trying to cram too much information into your resume. Going any larger will make it seem like you're just not adding enough information or you don't have much to offer. The only exception to this 10 to 12 point font is your name. You want to make your name stand out, so you want to make sure it's always bold and it is always in a higher or larger font than the rest of your resume. You can always play around with it depending on the amount of spacing you have. Additionally, you always want to make use of your bold and italic features. Use bold and italic for emphasis across the body of your resume. For example, place job titles, company names, and even dates in either bold or italics. This draws your reader's attention to important details on your resume and allows them to effortlessly read through the content. Tip number three, organize your headers and timeline. Headers are the perfect way to make your resume more attractive and draw the reader to certain items on your resume. Some examples of headings include education, volunteering experience, work experience, skills, and you could even throw in a relevant coursework if you feel it's important for your grad school application or your job application. Additionally, you want to make sure your timeline is in reverse chronological order. This means that you want your most recent experience up top, and then you work your way down to the oldest one. If you feel like your older experience is more relevant to your job application than the most recent one, you can create a relevant experience section that will allow you to bring those experiences from the bottom all the way to the top if needed. Tip number four, use bullet points. You want to use your bullet points wisely. Rather than using paragraph, use bullet points to organize the content on your resume. They're a little bit easier to read and much more pleasing to the eye. For example, use bullet points to emphasize your most important accomplishments under your work experience section, or to quickly bring attention to your awards and degrees under your education section. Bullet points allow your reader to pinpoint key items on it, and they give your resume much needed white space. You will want to use strategic and meaningful action verbs to describe your experience. Please refer to our resume writing handout for a list of action verbs if you're unsure on how to begin your bullet points. You can find it under the student tab on our website, or you can email a career coach for it. Additionally, you will want to quantify your bullet points. This is one of the most important aspects of them. Please refer to our video on quantifying your resume so that you can get a better idea on how to do this effectively. You also want to eliminate unnecessary words such as the word the, and, or ah, because these articles really just take up space in your resume and it takes away consistency and the clear of how it can look. So for the sake of consistency and having a clear look to your resume or a neat look to your resume, eliminate these unnecessary words. Tip number 5, play with your spacing. You want to make sure all your dates are aligned to the right side hand side of your document. This will make it easier for the employer to find it, and it keeps your resume consistent. Spacing in your resume is everything. How you arrange things will be determining how much information you can fit into your resume. However, sometimes, no matter how you arrange your content, you just need more white space. One tip to help with this is to play around with your margins. You can switch from normal to moderate or from moderate to narrow. This change in margins allows for more room. Also, don't be afraid to remove or add things in your resume. You always want to select very carefully which experience is very necessary versus which experience could potentially be removed if needed for the sake of space. So don't be afraid to take off or add new things to it.